Hi everybody, welcome to the United Stand. Some very interesting breaking news coming out for you this Thursday afternoon. It's not quite the news we want yet in relation to what this deal with Sir Jim Ratcliffe and the Glazers is, but it's certainly bad news for John Murtough and those people who want him to stay as Director of Football, which actually I don't think will be many. Really interesting developments coming out from numerous outlets now that Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants this change imminently. Now, remember yesterday, the official line coming in was that there's no immediate plans to remove John Murtough and that it's business as usual and he's scouting and looking to January. And effectively, there was a lot of stuff coming out yesterday as well that Sir Jim Ratcliffe won't be involved until Ineos are in and he wants to look at the whole club before he makes any changes. Now, what we're hearing from people close to the deal today is that actually that's angered Sir Jim Ratcliffe that story was out there, because what he doesn't want is to be associated with laziness, incompetence and slow movement around Manchester United. And what I mean by that, using better words, is he doesn't want the perception to be that John Murtough and other people who've underperformed will be given an opportunity and time. He knows he's in a race against time to raise the funds to try and get hold of the club whenever he does. So time is of the essence. So in relation to this John Murtough story that's coming out this afternoon, I believe this is Sir Jim Ratcliffe feeding it out there that, look, we're not going to be taking our time on certain issues. We're going to be making changes on certain issues. And the most interesting update that's come out in the last few minutes is actually coming in from the Mirror again, which I do always say seems to have good connections around the Ten Hag reign. And they're saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe is pushing John Murtough out of the Manchester United exit door. Richard Arnold left yesterday, and John Murtough is set to follow him very, very soon. Chief Executive Arnold was axed, of course we know. Football Director looks set to be John Murtough, set to be the next high-profile casualty at United, with Sir Jim Ratcliffe decided to get ruthless with club's underperforming hierarchy. Ineos Chief Ratcliffe is undertaking a complete overhaul of the footballing side at United and could actually use Sir Alex Ferguson as part of that process, which we'll be talking about live on the 8 o'clock show. But there's a number of names that are now coming forward in relation to who could replace him, and it's very, very clear that that shortlist is being worked on at the moment. You've got Atalanta's Lee Congerton being added to it. Maldini's been mentioned of AC Milan. Andrea Berta at Atletico Madrid. And of course, we know about Paul Mitchell and potentially Dougie Freedman. So this is really interesting news. It's moving fast news. And I think that this actually is, I mean, look, there's a PR angle to this as well. Of course, the more things you drop like this on a daily basis, it makes you look like you're doing something. It makes you spin a positive. I tweeted this afternoon that actually, you know what, I can't stand the Glazers, but the way they've managed this last 11 months is incredible, really. The only people giving credible information from this deal is the Glazers. Ineos can't, Sheikh Jassim can't, they're part of NDAs. So you need to figure this out. When you look at journalists or Twitter or social media and you get credible information around this deal, it's coming from the Glazer side because they're the only one who legitimately can do it. So all this story around the Glazers, they've actually managed it again masterfully. They've managed to turn a situation where the fan base thought the Glazers were going to a situation where they're staying in control with a guy who's only buying 25% and some fans are positive about the future. The Glazers have manipulated this through PR into the perfect scenario where they take over £500 million, keep control of the club and spin positives about the future. They've absolutely played this perfectly. And what people do not realise is the only people who can put legitimate, credible information out about this deal are the Glazers, because everyone else is part of an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. So they've played this situation perfectly. But what the next stage will be is things like this. Richard Arnold's gone. The Director of Football's gone. The deal gets announced. Maybe there's a signing in January. And fans start to think, this is the new United. Look at what they're doing in such a short space of time. Look at the momentum. Oh, this is great. We're still owned by the Glazers still. But, you know, this is great. And I think we will see this sort of thing. And this is something that, taking it away from the Glazers to Sir Jim Ratcliffe, if his intention is to be a success, he's got to speed things up. United over the last decade have been ridiculously slow. Transfers, progress, everything's been slow. And it's got to speed up. And as I said, what we're hearing from people close to the deal is that the change intact, because there's no doubt yesterday the official line was it's business as usual around John Murtough. Today, it clearly is what they're reporting, that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will now be becoming, probably on a daily basis, briefed around how people feel about his involvement with Manchester United. And yesterday there would have been people going, well, look, the official line is that John Murtough's business as usual. This is not good news for United. And I think today it's about, no, we need to move on this quickly as well. So look, John Murtough, maybe he doesn't make it to the end of the month. Maybe he doesn't make it to Christmas, because I think the United are shortlisting this down and looking to move very, very quickly. And the sooner you get your director of football in, the better for Manchester United. So look, I'm saying look a lot. I'm working through this in my mind. But as I said yesterday with Richard Arnold, even if we'd been sold and somebody had bought us and the Glazers had left, you're going to change your CEO. You're going to change your director of football. Who would I like as my director of football? Well, we're going to get into a little bit more depth of this on the 8 o'clock show tonight live. But for me, I quite like Paul Mitchell. I think when you look at the signings he's made at Southampton, Sadio Mane, Alderweireld, Tadic, where you look at what he did at Spurs with Son and Dele Alli, you look at what he did at Leipzig, Hadira and Kunku. I mean, these are just a few. So he's had success in recruitment and style of play. And, you know, Southampton had a style of play with Mitchell and Pochettino. Spurs did as well. Leipzig did. So he has got a really good CV. I don't think he's managed a massive club before, and I think this is a step up, but that's the whole point of progress. I like Andrea Berta at Atletico Madrid. I think he is massively underrated. I really do like him. In fact, I'll go more in depth in him. I'll go more in depth on all of these at 8 o'clock. But I like him. I've always liked him, and I think he would be very interesting. I just wonder whether people would be put off because he's not British. I feel we're going to go British. Sir Jim Ratcliffe is British. If he's speaking to people like Sir Alex Ferguson and other ex-players or whoever, I think, you know, we are very British in our approach, I think, at Manchester United. And I'd like us to go the best. And I think the best probably is non-British, but there's nothing wrong with going with Paul Mitchell. I think he will get the job. And it's interesting around the Atalanta director of football, and a couple of other people will be talking about 8 o'clock. But this change has to happen. Even if John Murtough was reasonably good at his job, you'd still make the change because you want new ideas, you want new appetite, you don't want to be associated with the past. So yeah, I think it's the right thing to do, and it's moving quick. It's definitely moving quick. I think yesterday we were being led to believe that it would be business as normal, but I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe is basically saying, look, I can't be associated with a snail pace approach to this. We've got to move quickly. We're falling behind as a football club, and we need. When you think about it, there's no point, is there? If you take over Manchester United's footballing side tomorrow or Christmas, and you've got a director of football that's not part of the vision, you're just wasting time talking to them. Get the new person in. Get working with that new person ASAP. And as I said, that the manipulation from the Glazers over the last 11 months has been masterful from their side to be able to spin this story of positivity when they're actually still in charge is incredible. But that's what they've done. And I think with regards to how things will pan out now, they've got to be seen to be moving quickly. But ultimately, these decisions are not unique to Sir Jim Ratcliffe. They're not. They're just any competent person's ideas. Director of football, CEO, assessment of the whole club. Anybody with a brain is going to do this. It doesn't matter, and fair play for Sir Jim to do it. Fair play if Sheikh Jassim had done it. The big issue is why the Glazers didn't do it 10 years ago. How many times have we spoken about having a director of football over the last 10 years? How many times have we spoken about getting a proper CEO over the last 10 years? It's madness, to be honest with you, that the Glazers are in charge of this football club and now letting somebody pay them 600 million to come in and do things they could have done themselves. The great thing about the Glazers is, and I say great in the loosest possible sense, because I actually mean Pratt's, is that if they had half a brain, they'd still be in total control of Manchester United with quite a lot of money running in. I mean, the Glazers just needed to listen 10 years ago. We need a director of football who's the best in the game. We need a CEO who's one of the best in the game. That wouldn't have cost them hardly any money to get a CEO and a director of football, and they never did it. They never did it. And it's a scary thing how out of touch they are. So look, these are open goals that Man United need to hit. Get your comments in below. What are your thoughts? Remember, we're back at 8 o'clock, but get your thoughts in on this. It's quick moving. It's the right decision. But who would you go for as your director of football? We're going to be talking more in depth of this at 8 o'clock and a few other things from the day as well. I personally think Andrea Berta, but I do like the idea of Paul Mitchell. Dougie Freedman terrifies me, to be honest. Get your comments in below. Smash a like on the video. I'll speak to you on the next one.